I've taken an example from a past HSC paper of a question that was worth 3 marks. The question says, describe 2 different types of motivation that can affect performance and provide examples. The first thing you would do when you come to this question is to look at the mark value. It's worth 3 marks. In the actual paper, there was 9 lines that were expected to have writing on them. So that's a real trigger for you that it is a small value question and that you will need to provide minimal amount of writing but with relevant examples. The next thing that you would need to do is to go through and highlight the key words. So in this particular question, some of the key words are describe, to, motivation, and examples. They are the key words that you would be looking for. So you would highlight or underline those key words in the question. Once you have done that, then you need to start planning your answer. You would write some dot points down on the side. For example, 2 types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic, positive or negative. They're examples of different types of motivation. So you could list those as dot points on the side of your paper. Even if you wrote nothing else there, you would still probably get 1 mark out of 3 for just listing those particular type of motivation. You would then begin to write. So you would explain or describe those different types of motivation, tell the marker what they are, describe them intrinsic, coming from within, extrinsic, coming from without. And then you will provide relevant examples. For example, an intrinsic factor in motivation is the desire to win. It comes from within the person. An extrinsic factor for motivation would be winning prize money. So those 2 things put together would assist a person to become motivated in order to achieve their best particular performance. The next thing I want to talk about is for you to get to know your syllabus. And I can't stress this to you enough, and I'm sure a lot of teachers have said this to you. The syllabus is the most important document that you'll come across in your entire HSC year. For the PDHPE syllabus, you should obtain a copy either from your teacher or off the Board of Studies website. It's very easy to download. Once you have the syllabus, a good thing to do would be to break it down into the 2 different cores and the 2 different options that you are going to study. When you get your syllabus, it's a good idea to read through and see some of the content that you will be actually covering in your course. One of the suggestions that I give to my students is to hang the syllabus up on the wall next to your desk where you're going to study. In this case, you'll then have an easy reference for you to look up all the time and to reinforce those issues that you need to reinforce. We're having a look here at a Core 2 part of the syllabus. You can see it's broken down into 2 different sections. On the left-hand side, there is the Learn Abouts, and on the right-hand side are the Learn Tos. This particular part of the syllabus talks about the principles of training. You can see there's progressive overload, specificity, reversibility, variety, training thresholds, warm-up and cool-downs. These are all important terms and terminology that you will get to know throughout the course of your study. On the right-hand side, we'll actually tell you how you're actually going to learn about these things. So the key word here is analyse. All right? Analyse how the principles of training can be applied to both aerobic and resistance training. Now this is a key point at the end of this statement. It talks about aerobic and resistance training. There's 2 specified or defined parts that you will be covering. You're not talking about anaerobic training, you're specifically talking about aerobic training, meaning with oxygen. And secondly, you're talking about resistance training. So if you get to know those areas within the syllabus, they're very easy for you to work your way through them and to check them off as you go through your course. In this way that you know that you've covered everything and that you've not left any stone unturned. It's really important to have good study notes. Along the way throughout your Year 12 course, you'll be given copious amounts of notes. That means a lot of notes. The course is very much content heavy. There's lots and lots of content to learn. So you'll be writing many, many notes and it'll take up many pages in your book. So one of the things that you need to do is to make more concise notes from those that you've taken down in class. You might have summarised the textbook, you might have been given overheads or PowerPoints from your teacher. You need to break these down into easily manageable and digestible parts. You need to refine those notes into smaller, easier chunks of work that you can memorise and then take back into the exam. One of the good ways to do this, and there are several of them, is to use a study card or a flashcard. Write small pieces of work down on those flashcards and then file through them on a regular basis to reinforce the concepts and the topics in your mind. Another way that you could do this is by using a mind map. If you have a look at this mind map here, it talks about the classification of sports injuries. Now we have several different ways of classifying sports injuries. We have direct and indirect, we have soft tissue and hard tissue, and the last point that you would look at is overuse types of injuries. I find mind maps really useful because it's a very clear graphical way to represent the information that you need to learn. It gets it down on paper and it's very visual. You can take it in easily and it'll be a good way that you can remind yourself of the key points of the particular dot point that you are studying. So using a mind map is a really important tool along with the study cards as well. One of the best ways to really reinforce the information that you've learned is to complete past papers. Now it's very easy to find past papers. All you need to do is go to the Board of Studies website and download past HSC papers. They range back there for a number of years. When you've got those papers off the website, what you can do is complete the answers that are on the paper and submit them to your teacher. I would be asking your teacher to do this on a regular basis and provide you with feedback as to how you are answering your question. This is an invaluable tool, and this is one that I recommend to my students all of the time. Another useful tool that you could use, it's also on the Board of Studies website, is the practice multiple choice questions. You can go on and load on a number of questions ranging from 10 multiple choice right up to 50 or 60 multiple choice. Once again, you can work your way through those from past papers to reinforce information that you've learned in class. So they're two really useful tools that you could utilise. That's about the end of my presentation, and I would like to wish you all the best for your HSC exam. It's a very stressful time in your life, but I'm sure if you take your time and you do the work, you'll be very successful at it. There are a number of great resources out there to assist you in your study, in particular your school teacher. They're the first point of call and the best point of call, along with a number of websites and other ways to find out information. Take your time, work hard, and good luck.